The moment she cut the lock on my shed with those ridiculous neon green bolt cutters, I knew two things instantly. One, this was going to end badly. And two, I needed more popcorn. You see, I moved to Riverview Estates thinking I'd finally found peace. Quiet streets, bird songs in the morning, and a backyard big enough to plant tomatoes without someone whining about visual harmony. After retiring from 17 years in bomb disposal with the Air Force, all I wanted was a patch of green, a grill, and a shed for my training equipment. Nothing dangerous, just old crates, tools, and one slightly intimidating robot named Baxter. He doesn't bite unless you're a federal threat or apparently a nosy HOA president named Linda. Yep, Linda. 60-something, permanently tan, wore a whistle on a lanyard like she was coaching a middle school soccer team. She'd somehow ruled our HOA with an iron clipboard for nearly a decade, and folks either feared her, ignored her, or moved away. Her war cry, community standards. Her mission, control everything. The tension started with a mailbox. Mine was matte black, steel, a little boxy, nothing crazy. But Linda claimed it disrupted the colonial aesthetic. She fined me before I'd even unpacked my moving truck. I laughed it off, figured she was just bored. But then came the curtain warning. Then the grass height measurement. Then the written notice about unauthorized metal structures, aka my shed. That's when things got real. What Linda didn't know, or didn't care to learn, was that my shed was sanctioned. Homeland Security had contracted me to store decommissioned training materials, not bombs, just replica devices, sealed crates, and of course, Baxter the robot for demonstration drills. Legal, absolutely. Safe, completely. But apparently not beige enough for Linda. Now here's where things get interesting. Unbeknownst to the rest of the neighborhood, Linda wasn't just enforcing rules. She was funneling HOA funds into a side project. She'd been hiring her nephew's landscaping company, Sunshine Harmony Solutions, to install benches, lights, and community upgrades. Trouble was, those upgrades never appeared. But the invoices? Oh, they kept piling up. When I started poking around after the mailbox drama, I guess she saw me as a threat to her little empire. And what better way to discredit me than to paint me as a danger? A military nut hiding explosives in a suburban backyard. She started snooping. I caught her peering over my fence while walking her cat on a leash. Another time, she rang my doorbell at 6 a.m. just to chat. I told her, politely but clearly, do not go near the shed. It's monitored, it's protected, and it's not a sandbox for HOA curiosity. She laughed. 2 days later, she cut the lock. I was out getting mulch. 20 minutes, max. Just enough time for Linda to seize what she probably thought was her moment of glory. The second that lock snapped, the shed lit up like a Christmas tree. Red strobes, an automated voice saying, "Containment breach detected," and Baxter rolling forward with that creepy but oddly charming "I'm watching you" glow in his camera eyes. Linda screamed, stumbled backward, and landed face first in my wife's lavender bushes. That's when the DHS server pinged. Within minutes, The block was swarming with SUVs, agents in bomb suits, and a very confused golden retriever next door barking like it had joined the SWAT team. I pulled into my driveway, sipping a Gatorade, confused as hell, and found myself instantly face down on my truck's hood. That was until Agent Knox, my old field partner, recognized me and muttered, "Oh, for God's sake, Davis, what did you do this time?" Long story short, once I explained and they verified the data logs, I was cleared. But Linda? Oh, she was not. Trespassing, destruction of federal property, triggering an emergency response. And that was just the appetizer. The real bombshell, no pun intended, came when DHS found a video she had posted on the Riverview Residents Forum. Her voice loud and proud, "If the board doesn't investigate that creepy military guy's shed, I will." She even winked. That was enough to prove intent. While the feds began their paperwork ballet, the neighbors slowly realized what Linda had become. Not a protector, but a self-appointed monarch. And like all bad monarchs, her crown was made of other people's money. Turns out, her beautification projects were just a smokescreen. Over $40,000 unaccounted for. No park benches, no upgraded sprinklers, just receipts signed by her and checks deposited into a civic enhancement trust, which, surprise, was her personal slush fund. As DHS opened a formal investigation into the HOA board, Linda panicked. She tried to spin it, said she was ensuring national security, claimed I was training for a militia, even filed a civil suit for emotional distress, claiming I'd baited her into breaking in. At the hearing, the judge lasted exactly 5 minutes before telling her to sit down and stop watching courtroom dramas on basic cable. Her case was thrown out. DHS filed its own. The HOA board collapsed. Linda's own treasurer testified against her, and neighbors submitted years' worth of citations for things like improperly colored patio chairs and wind chimes of excessive whimsy. The HOA completely restructured. The new president, a former Marine and single mom named Carla, who immediately repealed every citation Linda had issued that didn't have a real municipal code to back it. And my shed? It became a legend. Kids called it the Danger Shack. Baxter got a bow tie. I even hosted a safety seminar one weekend. The turnout was wild. Parents, kids, even the local news showed up. The new HOA made it a community learning zone, and I added a plaque inside the door. Respect the lock, or get rocked. Linda moved. No farewell, no apology. Just a U-Haul in the middle of the night and a hastily taped for sale sign that was already in violation of city code. The last I heard, she was trying to join another HOA across town. Someone there had already seen her forum video. I imagine the welcome committee was brief. Today, our neighborhood is a little louder, a lot brighter, and a whole lot freer. Mailboxes are colorful. Dogs bark without consequence. Wind chimes ring proudly. And I sit on my porch with a cold drink and watch as kids play in front of the shed that once caused a federal lockdown. Sometimes the biggest explosions don't come from bombs. They come from people who think rules only apply to others. So tell me, what would you have done? if Linda had been your neighbor? Have you ever dealt with a power-tripping HOA or a neighbor who thought they were the law? Drop your stories and opinions in the comments. I'm dying to read them.